up at 4:30 in order to catch a flight to Saigon. After a long bus ride, we arrived at a site devoted to reminding everyone of the horrors of the Vietnam War. There is a network of about 200 kilometers of tunnels which have been built here in the middle of the war by the Viet Cong. They would create a network of tunnels at various levels to get away from airstrikes, basically cut by hand, and the guide showed how the Vietnamese soldiers could just disappear instantly into the ground, and these tunnels were all connecting, and then they would immediately appear out of another tunnel a few meters away and shoot the Americans in the back. You had the opportunity of going into the tunnels, but I couldn't really bring myself to do it. It was really small, very dark and very cramped, and these had been widened to allow Westerners to get in there because the Vietnamese at the time were extremely small, so some of our lot had difficulty getting in. Really just poking your head into one made you realise it wasn't something you wanted to do, but you could experience the actual thing by crawling through a tunnel for anything from 20 metres up to 100 metres if you really wanted. Then there was a rather grisly demonstration of the various traps that they created to catch American soldiers, impaling them on sticks and knives. The Vietnamese soldiers would stay in the villages and were indistinguishable from ordinary villagers. There was a firing range at the back which, with the repeated gunshots, gave you an even greater sense of how awful it was. This was a captured tank which has been there for some time, and this is another example of a rather grisly trap for Americans.
A lot of different traps.
In fact, there were graphic demonstrations of a whole series of different ingenious traps impaling Americans on metal spikes, possibly not killing them, but incapacitating them, and also requiring more Marines to rescue them. Human ingenuity knows no bounds when it comes to hurting and maiming other human beings.
Door trap. They normally going to hang out inside
this
the house.
This is a door trap that Vietnamese soldiers would have, so that when
soldiers,
the
invaders coming
it would swing
inside
down
the house, open the door, it's going to fall off. But before they made just one piece.
This is a reenactment of a workshop where unexploded bombs were dismantled, probably not all successfully, and turned into bombs to use against the Americans. Where there was a tea and coffee outlet, and also you could use the firing range if you really wanted to. That's the firing range, and the sound was deafening. Then a very long bus trip into Saigon, very different from Hanoi, very, very busy, much more traffic, much more cars and lorries, but much more upmarket as well. Quite glitzy where we were with Tiffany's, Louis Vuitton and other Western outlets. We then walked through this rather glitzy area to a food market where we all chose what we wanted and had a very pleasant evening tasting the different types of Vietnamese food.